I have no idea what brought this up in my mind, but when I was about 10 years old, I was invited to a haunted house at a church. And my friend said, all you have to do to come to my church's haunted house is you just have to bring a canned good for their donation closet. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Because I didn't want to be jump scared. I was still 10 and a little bit afraid. My mom was like, haunted house at a church. Sounds great. So when we got to the church, we gave our little canned good and they had us all board their church van. And I was like, well, it's weird to be in the church van when we're already at the church, and it was one of those like ginormous mega church type vibes. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is part of it. So we all climb on the church van and it drives around through the parking lot. And all of a sudden we could hear like breaking glass, screeching tires, a horrible crash sound, and the church van slams on the brakes. And I'm like, that's really weird. And there was like a police car with lights and sirens, a fire truck, an ambulance, like paramedics, firefighters, all rushing to the scene. And they say, we've been in a terrible accident. Some of you might not make it. You're really hurt. We need everybody off the van. And I'm like, none of us are hurt. Like, be so for real. So we get off the van. Keep in mind, I'm only 10. And obviously not a real smart 10, but 10. So we all get off. They single file us into the church, like through a back door. And I'm like, this is so weird, but maybe it's part of the show, right? Next thing I know, we are in what looks like a doctor's office. And this man in scrubs, and he has like a stethoscope around his neck, and he's got this table in front of him. He comes out and he's like, I hate to tell you guys, but you didn't make it. Like, this is death. You guys, everybody died in this accident. And I'm going to help guide you through what happens next. And I'm like, okay, that's dumb. Next thing I know, he's pulling out a drawer from the wall. And it's like a morgue thing. And he's like, hop on. You have to go into the cooler. And I'm like, so when it's my turn, I hop on this little table. And every time he would push somebody in and pull the drawer back, a couple minutes later, nobody was on it. And I'm like, what? I don't know. So it's my turn. He has me lie down, pushes me into the wall. Next thing I know, a lid is being like lifted off of me this way. And I'm in a casket. On the other side of the wall, they put me dead ass in a casket. Dead ass, that was funny. Anyway, and here comes all of these people dressed in black, sobbing, crying, mascara all over their face. There's flowers everywhere. Amazing Grace is playing in the background. They're crying over me saying, oh, I was so young and so beautiful. And now I'm scared. Like, oh my gosh, did I actually die? Is this really my future? Where's my mom? And I'm getting super sketched out because they weren't acknowledging me when I'm like, I want to get out of here. And they were like, but she was so young. So then the next thing I know, the side like goes down and I was able to get up off the table, but it was like they couldn't see that I got up, if that makes sense. They were still crying over the table, even though I got up and walked away. And I'm like, I'm alive. Hello. Nobody's talking to me. So they usher me into another room where I had to wait like in a single file line. I see my friend and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And she's like, did we die? She thinks we died too. We're both getting really freaked all the way out. So we walk around in this really slow line, like eyes bugged out. It's kind of in the sanctuary, but the way they had it decorated, you couldn't really tell. Next thing I know, they wave me up. And sitting on a throne is Jesus himself. Jesus himself, y'all. And he's holding a book. And on the front of the book, it says the book of life. And if you were raised in church, you know your name better be in that. Jesus says, what is your name, my child? And I'm like, my name's Amanda. Turn some pages. Guess whose name wasn't in there? Amanda wasn't in the book of life, y'all. I was devastated. I'm like, no. Maybe your pages are stuck together. No. What do you mean? And he tells me that because of my sin and not asking for forgiveness and not asking him to live in my heart, which I'd go to hell. And he was sorry to tell me that. So I start to cry. I'm like, I don't want to go to hell. And he's like, So he points down this dark hallway, and off I had to go. So I go into another room. I'm ruined. Because again, you guys, I thought maybe I did die. So I go in this room. All you could hear in this room is screaming, screeching pain sounds. Like the most horrific, actual haunted house type screaming. And it's so loud. And they had the heat up to 111 because they were going all the way in. It looked like it was glowing embers everywhere. And they left me in there for like 5 whole freaking minutes. And when you're 10 years old, you think you're dead, also cast into hell. 5 minutes is 5 years, friends. Then finally, Joe Schmo opens the door and he's like, "Did you have fun?" Hell no. Hell no. No, I did not. No, I did not. Your buddy, Beelzebub or whatever his name is back here, he ain't the one. So then they have an altar call. Your girl was on her knees at that altar. Oh, God, sorry, Robinson. I was shook. And boy, was my mom mad.